Well, happy Halloween. We're looking at The Tomb of Dracula, Volume 1, Marvel Masterworks here for spooky season. I'm having fun. This is one of the best Marvel series there is in existence. From what I've read, I tell you what. This is just phenomenal. The artwork throughout is fantastic, but the writing is good too. Let's slip this dust jacket off and get into it. I am heartbroken because I found out that the Masterworks series is being canceled, and there's still one volume left of this series to come out. So that is just tragic. We're gonna have one book of material not finished off, but this is just a wonderful series. The artwork by Gene Colan throughout this is just absolutely killer. So good as we go through it. And he actually did his own inking for this first issue we see here. If you're not familiar with this series, it follows Dracula throughout, but mainly the protagonists of this book, you could say, are the villains, or the villain of the book is the hero. I don't know how you say it, but the book follows all the people hunting Dracula, and he's just the ever-presence in the book that you're rooting for and against. And the book kicks off here, and we're we're meeting his was it like his grandson here? Although with the whole genealogy and everything, like how does that actually work with him being as old as he is, and how does a vampire knock up a lady? But he's inherited the Castle Dracula, and he's off with his lady and his BFF to go track it down, and they're gonna get the castle in order and then try and sell it to make some money. However, his buddy is actually a snake in the grass, and used to be with his chickie. So he's a bit angry about that. There's a little turncoat stuff going on, and he ends up becoming Dracula's familiar. And that makes sense for him being a bit of a Weasley character. But as we're just looking here, I want to especially appreciate this page. This is beautiful. I've been talking and yammering as I'm flipping through, and I've already passed by some pages that had some brilliant artwork. Like every time I read it and I go back, just this page here where we see him just getting the story in the bar. You got the barmaid showing a little bit of leg, that lightning crashing, lightning over here too. Just looks so good. This whole book is absolutely beautiful. But this page too, you just get with all the journaling, and then the big spooky castle reveal there. Very cool. And I love how this is paced. Like, honestly, this first issue is phenomenal. Not the main writer of the book. Wolfman's the main writer for the title. And he does a great job, but I tell you, he doesn't pick it up till a bit later in the book, and we just have a couple writers doing here and there, and the starting out is from Conway, and he does a brilliant job with it, just getting everything in order, and then it all just kind of, the pieces get put into place by the various writers until the main guy gets going, and then he goes on for a big long stretch. But I like the early issues all the same. The first one is about as perfect of a new Dracula story as you can get, because you're just introduced to everything. You have new characters. They're not too deep, but you get the archetypes of everything going on, and there's a good amount of suspense. Like, it plays like a good movie, a good story. And I very much enjoy it. And we do see Dracula later getting a little bit more color in his cheeks, but it always bothered me when I see just a straight white-faced Dracula. But I totally get what they're going here in this book with him being fresh revived. I mean, shoot, I flipped over the page when we saw him get revived, and I'm just yammering on like, that is absolutely silly of me. But this is cool how we see him shift from the skeleton into flesh when the stake is removed from his skeletal corpse. But yeah, this first issue, fantastic. I could do a long video just on this first issue. I could do a half-hour video spotlighting every little bit about it, because there's so much going on in this issue that's good. Like, this artwork is beautiful, and I'm doing a disservice by flipping through it so much. But this is a long volume, and I want to talk about the whole thing. So let's get through it. We we get everything wrapped up here with the castle burning. His love is turned into a vampire, and his best friend has been locked away in the dungeon of the castle that's burning down. It is a sad, bad ending for our main dude, Drake, but I kind of like that. You know, that's the classic horror story. You know, tragic ending. Doesn't work out well for your main guy. But here we got issue 2. This cover is great. Although that cover 1 is just iconic. But I really like this cover too. All the covers are pretty fantastic. But yeah, I just really like this intro page. The artwork in this book, it really is. The writing is good, but the artwork just really absorbs you into the world. Just the creepy atmosphere, everything. It gets you into a horror vibe. And this does a good job catching you up on things if you didn't pick up that issue 1. We summarize everything in comic booky fashion, catching you up to speed for the first couple pages. And then we get a little bit further still where Dracula's actually making his way to this fella here who used to be one of his familiars when he was but a boy many years ago, because we can see he's an old man, and Dracula's been dead for a while. Meanwhile, we're back at the hotel. And yeah, I would be startled too if I saw my lover who had just died and they're just walking out and about and like, ooh, you know something's wrong. And yeah, she got that vampire juju going. And unfortunately, his friend Cliff is a little bit more susceptible to it because he still had a love for the lady. And, you know, he's just got a more wicked heart, so he's more willing to, you know, buy her lying vampire tales. Meanwhile, Dracula's doing his thing, going out and about in the town to find himself a good meal. And I do enjoy the exchange that he has here, and, you know, just the wordplay going on and him being the classy county gentleman he is. And his Dracula charm. And here we're back at the hotel. We can see she's all tied up. And, you know, well, we're going to see in just a second that Cliff is a big old dummy and ends up drugging Drake and letting her free. And just absolutely no good comes of it. Absolutely heartbreaking, because now he's got to see his lady die twice. But then, like, this time, it's his fault. So, yeah, that is a bummer. Although, really, it's his fault the first time, too, because he brought her there to Transylvania. One thing I haven't commented on is I love how all the ethnic voices in the book, how they just like write out the accent of the people. Like I can totally hear how they're talking just by how it's written down. Fantastic cover right there too. And see, here we go. We're already switching writers again. Archie Goodwin, and he's going to be doing a thing for a issue or two, and then I believe it jumps to Gardner Fox. But yeah, this is just sad. He's right about to kill himself jumping off that bridge because he can't deal with the trauma of having offed his lady and just all this vampiric nonsense. But then he gets rescued and by a Van Helsing, no less. The great-granddaughter, or granddaughter. Yeah, great-granddaughter. And her mute companion. And I totally forgot about it, but as I'm rereading this during Halloween week, I'm just laughing because at different points in the book, they mention he knows the language of signs for the deaf and dumb, and just the terminology and the verbiage that's changed over the years. Like, I know we don't say it quite like that anymore. Dracula was looking so good right there in that one page. So they recruit Drake into their vampire hunting team, their plot, and they get to going, and they're actually they actually kind of get wrapped up in a thing because they're going after Dracula's coffin to try and lure him back, and they get there and find it, and they find the they find the person that's already been preyed on by Dracula and the lady there, and man, it's just full of gold because Dracula had stored his fortune in his coffin. So that's pretty cool, and that's how he's able to get his things going. Good planning on his part. But yeah, the police are waiting out there, and they believe that our vampire hunters are to blame for the recent murder of the people in the hotel. Finding that corpse there, they're not really buying this vampire plot, but thankfully we do get the chance to see things come through because as we see later, Dracula gets on out of his little storage area, and oh, hold on, hey, sorry, I got a little interrupted there, but hey, where was I? So Dracula's getting popped out of storage from the truck there, and good thing Clifton is his familiar, or else how would he got that done? But meanwhile, we cut back over to the morgue, and the guy that from the hotel that was off just comes back to life. Thankfully, the police actually listened to the Helsing girl, and they're actually out there waiting to check and see if the guy actually becomes a vampire, and sure enough, he does. And so all of a sudden, like boom, like that, they got credibility. Like, I love it. Usually people are really dense and stupid. No, there can't be such a thing. No, they see a thing, they're like, oh damn, this is real. Okay, you're free to go. Do you need any help? Meanwhile, we get this great little subplot with this lady here, this famous model from back in the day who just used to be the hottest thing ever. And I mean, look at how gruesome and ugly she is now. She just looks like a gracefully beautiful old lady. But no, she can't have that. So she's doing a bargain with the devil, and she's actually bought the castle of Dracula's, and she's going to try and use that to lure in Dracula. Little does she know, Drac's already outside the window, and through her machinations, she just gives him entry into her home and bids him welcome, because she got a plot going. She's gonna trade him some she's gonna try and offer him a lot of things that he don't even care about, but then she's gonna offer him a magic mirror. And the mirror is real fun because of how it works. It's like a transportation device, but through time in between a demon realm. So that's pretty cool. I like how it works. You can see her looking at her old pictures of her beauty and talking to Dracula and being like, you gotta make me a vampire. And I love it because he does. He's like, all right, if you want, because yeah, sure, you can regain your youth and beauty when you drink the blood. Yes, everything you're saying is right. However, Drac is tricking him, tricking her, I should say, because obviously your default form is going to be when you turn into a vampire. So no matter how much blood she drinks, she may never age further, but she's still going to be an old maid. And I love those evil, ironic twists in old horror stuff, So they hunt her down. She comes to a dark realization about her becoming a vampire and how horrible it is. And, you know, all the while, we got the mirror thing going here as I'm talking about, and this is where we're learning that it was forged by demons through the demon realm, and the mirror itself is actually material of a different world. Very cool. I like how it works. It's a really cool device. But yeah, our vampire hunters are on the trail, and they actually end up hunting her down, and they catch up with her after she has her first feeding. And it's pretty great because she already planned to hunt down and trick Dracula anyhow by not telling him properly how the mirror works, so he would get trapped inside the mirror. And I thought that was pretty brutal. But he's a clever fella, and he finds a way out. However, I love this bit here with him encountering some modern technology he doesn't know about. The flashlight! And they got a little crucifix going on there to have a cross shine on him. And that's just such a brilliant move. Like, it's such a simple hack. You can do it at home. Get some duct tape, an X-Acto knife, and you're good to go. You can have yourself your own little Christ signal. But I tell you, the crucifix saves so many people having that on them, and it really makes me think, like, man, maybe I should be carrying around a cross, you know? You never know when it could come in handy, and it's never a bad idea to have Jesus up close, you know? But yeah, this is great with her realizing the folly of what she did, and the thing is, she was totally happy accepting the deal and everything evil involved in vampirism until she realizes also it doesn't cure the one thing she needed. So she's literally damned herself, and it's awful. You know, you feel bad for her, but I like that ironic bad twist ending for her. But, you know, being put out of her misery, the only good vampire is a dead one as far as I'm concerned. And Raj, the mute muscle, ends up knocking Dracula into the mirror before the portal can close, and they both get sucked into the demon realm. Yeah, I really like how this plot line goes through. I just think the magic mirror demon crafted time travel device is so cool, because it travels you through space into the demon realm, but also through time. Very cool. And yeah, we've gotten to the Gardner Fox issues, if I hadn't said already. But I do love it, because this is just straight up like Gene Colan, like such good art, and it's so detailed, so beautiful. I know a lot of people, you know, will. A lot of people can be a little bit hard on some of the inking that goes on. You know, a lot of people just really don't like Coletta, and I can get that. This one here is Palmer anyhow, so don't really matter. But I'm just talking, you know, stream of conscious thought. But man, not the best. He isn't the best, but I do appreciate his work in the respect that, you know, I don't think it's that bad. Like, I think people are way more hard on it than they should be. And you also got to figure, team player, you know, he's getting things to the finish line in time, because it is a business at the end of the day, and you got to get the issues out on the deadline. And the guy could hit the deadlines, and there were corners that were cut, but he was the guy you called when you needed it done. And when the guy had the time to do a proper inking job, it was absolutely beautiful. So I don't know. I always just kind of shrug it off a little if I see a little bit of mess, but we're not even getting that here. And I don't think his issues in this book look too bad either. But the artwork throughout is Colan, at least until we get to the back black and white special features. But look at me, I've been yammering as I'm flipping this issue and I haven't even talked about it. But basically, they're just going through the portal. Dracula's got to survive in the demon realm, so he keeps Raj around and protects him. Meanwhile, our people actually go on through following him, but they read the book, so they know what they're doing and can get to where they properly need to. Dracula has released his love from the bottle, the blooded bottle that he had in the past when he time traveled, and and she's terrorizing here. And I love this where they actually break the stone cross off from where it's at, because they're like, well, the marble's cracked, push with all your might, and they just lift that up to just cast the shadow, which gets her real good. And yeah, just a great fight. They're chased through the mirror again, and we're back into modern times. So really, the time travel was very minuscule to the story, and I thought the whole demon realm stuff, which was more focused on, was they're just very rich and interesting story device. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's fun. Love this cover. That is so good. He looks a little different in the main story, but what a cool creature. But here's Dracula, pulling himself out of the mirror there, and they're just wandering through the countryside. They're going to try and find somewhere safe to feed, get their energy up. However, this shaggy brute finds this poor young woman in her terrible condition, and I love this fake out here with the with the just like going down to reach for her. You think something bad's gonna happen, but he's just reaching for some food and then picks her up to safety. And we, of course, later in the issue find out that he's just a mutant son of this couple. Now, not mutant in the sense of X-Men, but he's got a lot of recessive genes and things that just pretty much make him look like a big, hairy ape monster creature, a Yeti. Although this is the Marvel Universe, so it very well could be just a mutant, and it's not identified as such, but they do say in their family they have a history of that curse. But it's great because as they're investigating, they're looking for a vampire, but they stumble on the story of this hairy creature. I love this panel, the transformations and this vicious face. Like, that's so cool. Absolutely beautiful artwork in this book, and I just love absorbing it. That's a cool panel there too. I just love the way the mist is done. Just the coloring, the shading, the what do you call it, like the hatching. And here we're getting a description of the creature. Yeah, every few centuries in their family, they just birth the Bigfoot. What a curse. Yeah, that's so good. Now, this is a plot device that just keeps getting used over and over, is the fact that it's like, this is so heavy, only Dracula could pick it up, even though other people do pick it up, or like two people could pick up a thing. But it is pretty great when Dracula just picks up something that's like overwhelmingly heavy and just like gives it a nice little chuck. But this is brutal. Him just throwing them both into the dungeon there, and trapping them in eternal darkness for them to starve or suffocate. And he just taunts Drake a little bit, saying that his vampire blood is in him. So who knows? Maybe he could feast on her. Just with a little bit of teasing. Thankfully, another strong brute is able to lift up that lid, and that's our Bigfoot friend, who does and gives him a good rescue. So we get this nice walking off into misty sunset, as you could say, and everything's good until next issue. And here we have Wolfman jumping into the book, and I will say I like the past few stories, but this is when it really kicks in. And what a fun cover too, with just like the army of kids, even though we don't see that actualize in the issue until the very end of it. I am loving this opening page though. That is a page that will suck you in. And the way we got just the captions going, and just the little blurb from Helsing, so cool. So cool. I love this panel too, with Dracula going like, ah! Oh man, yeah, that is so fun. This is a good set of pages. Man, how cool would it be to have this page as original artwork? Man, oh, that'd be really cool. Oh man. Yeah, but here we're introduced to the Harkers, and you know, I'm getting the whole band together, so to speak. And we learned that he's building some great gadgets like this pop-out net with garlic-infused weights to keep Dracula from changing form, so he can't turn into mist and escape. Very cool. That's the kind of technology he did not have to contend with before, I tell you. This is a great panel here, just with the blend of the face into just all the different stuff going on. Yeah, we get some, man, the artwork is so good, like as far as like sucking you into the story. Meanwhile, Dracula's enlisted this gang of youth to be his new soldiers and be proactive in actually hunting down or hunting, well, his hunters, you know. So very cool. I don't have great insights into the book. I don't have much to say. I'm just yammering on as I look through all the pages again. But I had a blast reading through this thing, and just looking through all this artwork and absorbing it is fantastic. We get some great fights here. But I tell you, I would not want to be fighting a bunch of young kids, and I would be running too. I like how they end up getting trapped in the car there, and of course, you know, they cut all the wiring so the engine of their car can't start when they do try and make an escape. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here, because they haven't even gotten out of the building yet. But yeah, I tell you, keep your crucifixes ready. And this is so cool too. His just little side gun that shoots out the wooden darts with their poison. And Dracula does end up having blood that he has like a transfusion, and you know the poison is pumping through. But I always thought that the whole thing with vampires was they had no blood. Like they ate the blood, they consumed it, but they didn't have blood pumping through them. But you know, whatever. It works. But it's really funny because we're advertised at the beginning of the issue with the army of kids, but they don't really do anything until this last page. But this next issue, they do damage, but they're not on the cover. We do get these cool ghouls, though. I like that. That is a really good page. But here we have Dracula just busting on out because he's not doing good with that poison dart shot into him. So he just gets the hell out, and the rest of our crew tries to break out of the building, as I was talking about before. Meanwhile, Dracula, you know, he he crash lands somewhere else. And this is real nasty because he ends up landed in the house of this doctor who he actually knows, and it's just sad what happens with him there. But I want to focus more on our main cast as they're trying to run away from these kids because I really like how this whole scene went through. And Taj just busting him through like real quick. And I like to imagine from that one scene we saw earlier where they had to climb up some stuff that he just lifted the chair. But yeah, Dracula tracks down this dude who he knew when he was much younger, and he's actually a vampire too, but a good air quote vampire who has not been killing people but taking blood as a doctor and just taking blood donations and drinking half of the donations. However, Dracula wants a full blood transfusion to get this poison out of him, and that uses up all the dude's blood. He has to tell all his patients to go home real sad. His daughter ends up being questioning things but goes to the graveyard to just pray with her mother's grave, praying for her father because he's having some bad stuff go on that she don't quite know about. Dracula gets him to show him this projector device in this underground mausoleum laboratory that seems like way fancy technology for how old this is supposedly supposed to be, but he's got this magical projector that can bring people back to life, but Dracula's going to use it to bring people to life that are dead and create an undead army. And here we get a little bit of hints of him having further machinations of like rule, and that he's actually going to create a like vampire dominated society. I love the suspense of this car attack with these kids surrounding him, because you don't want to harm these kids. They're just under mind control. But at the same time, if you don't stop them, they're going to kill you. The only way to stop them is to kill them. What do you do? Meanwhile, we get all these ghouls rising from the grave, and they are creepy looking. And simultaneously, the daughter ends up seeing her father at the graveyard as Dracula is bringing everybody back to life. And that's how she learns that her father is a vampire. And they end up fighting over the projector. Sadly, Dad's going to die here real soon. But a chopper comes to the rescue for our heroes and is able to scare everybody off, thankfully. But man, I just feel bad for her because Dad and Dracula have a big epic bat fight. And the device is destroyed when it's dropped, but also Dad has been killed by Dracula, and he falls onto these spikes down below on the fence and turns back into his human form. And we get this sad page of daughter just weeping over her father's corpse. However, it just strikes me that sometimes the vampires turn to dust and ash, and sometimes they revert back to their human form when they die. And I just wish there was a little bit more consistency with that. But at the same time, I don't care that much. It's entertaining. And man, the covers to this book are just so on fire, every single one. And this cover is fantastic. And this we just kind of speed run, learning what happened with Dracula here. And he gets fished up from the sea. And pretty much they just carry him back here. And this is just so funny. He gets fished out of the sea, and after being knocked in there from some hooligans and such, and they bring him to a church. So he just wakes up and he's surrounded by crucifixes and stained glass windows. You can't even break through them because they're so holy and everything. And he struggles to get out of the building. And that's such a hoot. Like, what a place to trap somebody that's a vampire than a church. Like, it's perfect prison. But we catch up on what was going on with him, how he came into this condition after being poisoned, and then trying to recover from the poison and his loss of blood and energy. You know, we got the hooligans that really did some damage to him, and we see them later. He sure gets his revenge, I tell you what. But I do like this, that Dracula actually befriends this young boy who does not like his town. He's ready to leave his small town. He says it sucks. But, you know, Dracula, of course not saying that he's Dracula, befriends him, tells him that, you know, this is actually a really nice place. You don't know what you have and what you would be missing if you left. The real world is full of bad, bad people. You should stay here where it's good. But yeah, this is this all is pretty funny with Dracula then leaving, and he decides to spare our dude's lady because, you know, Dracula ain't gonna do him like that. This man offered him the hospitality of somewhere to stay that wasn't a church, and showed him kindness, and he's young, and you know, Drax just giving him a little bit of his wisdom and showing a little bit of sympathy by sparing her. However, he does not spare the pretty barmaid. We get this fun exchange, but then sadly we see that the I just love the captions that as much as she didn't want to go home with him, she might have been better off. So she's quickly turned after getting feeded on, and she does the same to her cop companion. Meanwhile, Dracula has a bit more camaraderie with the young fella. And we get this great bit where there's an actual fight happening and taking place. And anyhow, the vampires are revealed. The townspeople go after them, and you know, the preacher here especially is like, well, vampires, that's no good. And this is kind of proof that my God stuff is real. So, like, if anything's gonna get people back in the pews, it's a vampire menace. So he's actually happy about it, which is a little bit dark. And before I flip the page, I just want to touch on the appreciation of the use of, like, all the swishes and swirls and the show of motion and everything going on is just really beautiful. And the restoration on the art and everything is fantastic in this book. But they hunt down the two new vampires. However, they're looking for Dracula, and our boy steers them in the opposite direction. Why he did this, I mean, only he could really say. But Dracula appreciates it and promises him that him and his lady are pretty much under his protection. And although the vampire world order will be a thing, there will always be a place for him in it. And I like that because it just shows a little bit of Dracula's twisted honor, and that he has shown that he will betray people. But he also shows right here that if you truly earn his respect, he will reward it for what it's worth. I don't know if it's a reward you really want, but and here we can see we're all ready to issue 10, and boom, we're meeting Blade. Wesley Snipes himself, although not resembling Snipes in the least. Not this iteration anyway, but very cool. I love Blade. And yeah, he's just great. And he's just a straight up vampire hunter, and he don't need any of your fancy tricks. He's just coming after you. And great thing about Blade in the book is, unlike some of the other characters that are like strictly tied to Dracula, like literally the main character is a relative of Dracula, the other characters are relatives or relations of people from the Dracula novel and everything, you know. But here we're getting an original character who doesn't even have a ties to Dracula. He's just hunting vampires, and Dracula's just one of them. I love that. He's he's real cool. And honestly, I wouldn't have minded if this stuck around longer or we got it in live action, because, you know, it's pretty dope. But yeah, I guess the glasses might be a little bit goofy, but I still think they're pretty awesome. And I love this whole plot with them going on to the big boat there. We got this big fancy party boat out in the ocean, and Dracula's being hosted there, although they think he's not actually a vampire. They think he's just a relative of the Dracula family, and he gives good excuses for everything going on, although soon enough they will find out he is the real deal. And meanwhile, Blade's infiltrating the boat here, and he's going to sneak in, and he does an expert job. And, you know, Dracula's doing what he does, which is seducing a lady and then getting himself a meal. Then he takes over the boat. I love this, too. He just slaps the captain and then takes the wheel of the ship laughing. So fun. But yeah, here we can see Blade actually like scuba diving out to the boat and then getting on up in there, and he's going to take care of some business. And I love how Dracula just calls them wimps and milksops, and that there's not a man amongst them until one pulls out a gun. And of course, he kills that guy mercilessly, you know, throwing him out into the cold water, which you could argue is worse than a quick death by his own hand. But at least he respects him in the sense that he pulls out a gun and tries to fight back. But yeah, Blade here getting all up on the boat, and he's going to take care of some business. And he pretty much ruins Dracula's plans here with the boat. But as we see at the end of the issue, we get a big explosion finally. I've been waiting for an explosion for a while. I love me my explosions. Man. This is such a good set of pages, just the paneling. I haven't really been talking about the paneling at all, and I should, because it's done really well. You're always getting good shapes that draw your attention, but it's not uniform. So you're not really getting bored, and cool pieces of artwork get the space and size to shine. But yeah, we get a great fight between Blade and Dracula here on the boat. And you know what? Dracula just kind of pieces out because he's not doing as well as he thinks he would, I want to say. And so he just pieces out using his mind control and all that to have the boat blown up, which is fantastic, except for his familiar, who gets fucked over hard. He's been working for him for a good solid 10 issues, and then he's just blown up like that. Wah wah. But this is a great issue. Just, it's very self-contained. You don't really need anything else from it. So if you're just looking at this from like, you like Blade but you don't know the book series or anything, you know, this, you could probably jump straight in right here and pick that up. But this book is fantastic, and you should be reading the whole series if you like the character or something. I don't know if you're just wanting to check out the issue, but if you are just wanting to check out one issue, that's a good one to do it. But I would still recommend the issue one if you could only pick out one issue from this series to have, or especially this one collection. Although I bet the Blade issue is probably worth more. But this issue right here, Dracula's gonna get his revenge on that group of ruffians that threw him out into the water after the whole poison and blood transfusion BS. Because he's mad about that still. And, I mean, I don't blame him, do you? So we get a little bit of a recounting of what went on to catch you up if you didn't get into that, as you need in these old comics too. But you know, back in the day, you didn't have collections that just put everything together. Here we see our main villain, so to speak, this man in an iron lung, who's hired this gang to go out and terrorize and rough up some people who he believes are to blame for him being stuck in this iron lung. But he's got this evil plot of using voodoo dolls to torture them, and he just has his gang fellas kind of taunting the people as he does voodoo far away. So you got somebody who denied him bonds that put him into bad financial straits. You got the guy who sent him to Haiti, where he ended up getting tortured by these tribesmen, and thus so he learned voodoo through the torture. You know, he's got beef with a number of people, all for what he believes led him to this terrible situation. But really, you know, you can't go blaming people like that. Surely not with voodoo. Although, I mean, you know, I don't know if voodoo's a real thing, but don't go making a voodoo doll of me. That's all I'm asking. Oh, man. So this I thought was pretty cool here, because it turns out the last person on the list is actually Harker here, and Dracula, hunting down the gang, ends up inadvertently saving him. Which I thought was just a fun twist of fates, and even the narration at a point talks about how a lot of these plot contrivances are so on the nose, it's as if a writer thought them up. And I thought that was fun. But this exchange here I thought was fantastic, as Dracula spares Harker because his vengeance has been sated, and he's not here for him tonight, and he thinks so little of him that he'll let him be, which is funny because, you know, of course, he doesn't think that little of him. The dude's been a thorn in his side for a while, but, you know, that's kind of his pride talking, and just like, he's not there for it. He's going to let it be. And I liked how that was done. Very, very cool. But the gangster guy doesn't really get away, because he gets turned too. So he ends up going back and exacting some justice on the dude in the iron lung, and at the same time the voodoo kills him. So, you know, everybody gets theirs. Well, everybody but Dracula. But so that's all 11 issues that are in the main series in this Masterwork book. However, several short stories that were in the Dracula magazine at the time were referenced in the book itself, so we get that here reprinted, and they don't usually do that for Masterwork books, so that's cool. We don't get all the contents of the magazine, but we do get the covers, we get the credits pages, and a little bit of fun stuff. So here we got an introduction to the series, and here we got this story going, which is pretty cool. It's you know, it's about Dracula trying to come to terms with losing his humanity as a vampire, and going from thinking it a curse to embracing it. It does contradict some further stories a little bit, but you can kind of fudge it to make it work, as far as him like maybe first embracing it, then being disgusted, and then re-embracing it, sort of thing. But this is Steve Gerber, and this is one of the few things after the fact that isn't by Wolfman, but still, you know, it's pretty good. That's just where I would say the inconsistency lies. But later there's much further consistency with it being a uniform creative team. Rich Buckler on the art here. Very nice looking, and cool uses of reds there too with this. Although I do like the straight black and white. This was a good one. However, the next one is probably my favorite of the black and white material. And I mean, it's Neal Adams doing the artwork, so you know, no big surprise there. But this is Dracula's origin story of him, you know, being the Impaler and fighting the Turks and everything, and how he ends up getting his curse from this old gypsy lady, because the Turks end up giving the corpse of Dracula to her to try and use her magic to revive. They don't know it, but she's a vampire, so she bites him, giving him the curse. And then after this torturous bit of him waking up as a prisoner and it being revealed that him and all his soldiers raped his wife and they're holding her hostage and his baby son, like, Dracula just gets so furious. He breaks from his chains and just kills the dude. So very cool. I love how this is done. The artwork in this, oh man. Not Colan, but so good. This entire collection is phenomenal. Breaks my heart that the book won't finish, you know. There's volumes 1 through 5, and we're just waiting on 6. And then the series gets canceled. Killing me, Marvel. How can you cancel the Masterworks program? But, you know, it's been canceled before. It just took like a decade for them to revive it back again. So, I don't know. Maybe they'll bring it back and they'll finish the series off in Masterworks. Hopefully, knock on wood. But this all's real great with him just angry and swearing vengeance, and he just pieces out. I like that, you know, just some full artwork there. That looks good. We've seen that picture before, though. And this one, which is Buscema, more fantastic art. This book really is just gorgeous, but still Wolfman writing it. And this picks up where that last short story left off with Dracula angry, swearing vengeance, newly christened vampire. And it's him trying to figure stuff out. He gives his son to a gypsy woman and then goes out for the hunt. However, he ends up meeting more vampires who takes them to Nimrod, Lord of the Vampires. And here we see how Dracula gets his grasp on power, because he's summoned by the Lord of the Vampires, and his lady ends up trying to seduce him as well. Dracula wants nothing of it, and he goes out, he gets a little bit of food, he gets some self-reflection, and then he thinks, you know what? I'm going to take this devil on. So we get this awesome fight between Dracula and Nimrod, and Nimrod's going to put him in his place. However, this fight is really well done. I love how this goes from him just getting up to getting kicked back down, and then we're looking at the back of Nimrod. But Dracula and him are tussling real good, and he ends up grabbing Nimrod's lady and throwing her in the way of Nimrod's stake, which ends up killing her. Then he does some judo flipping and throws Nimrod onto the stake that was plunged into the rock, and he becomes Lord of the Vampires himself. And that's his true vampiric origin of becoming King of the Night. So very cool. Hey, how about that? We actually flipped through the whole book, but we still got some gorgeous artwork in the back for some bonus features. How cool is this? That is so good, and as it shows here, this is the piece that Colan did and gave to Stan Lee to try and win the role as artist for the book. And man, how could you look at that and say, nah, I don't want you for my Dracula book? Like, of course you would. And the rest is history, because this is just... even if you're a diehard superhero-only comic fan and not into other genres of things, there is no denying that this is one of the best titles Marvel ever produced. Just the quality of writing throughout the entire lengthy series and the gorgeous artwork that was produced from it is something else. This is fun, just showing the differences between the alterations in the cover there. Got to change dialogue a little bit sometimes to make it fit the code. But very cool. I love this piece too. This is really rad. For an old reprint book. Yeah, that is cool. Alright, and the rest is text that we don't really care about too much, because that's just your basic info. We did it! Tomb of Dracula, Volume 1, Marvel Masterworks. We bust through 11 issues plus some great bonus material. I had a whole lot of fun with this. I had a great time rereading this book for Halloween week, and even a better time just going through it again on Halloween. It's spooky season. Not much longer, though. But hey, any day can be Halloween if you pick up one of your old spooky comic books. So thank you for joining me. I had a blast doing this, and I hope you had a good time too. If you actually stuck along however long I've been going through this book, I'd appreciate it if you want to do that little like thingamajig, or just leave me a comment telling me what you like about this book, because that's why I do this. I just like talking about comic books, and I enjoy hearing what other people have to say about them too. So please let me know. And until then, we'll talk to you more later with good comic goodness.